Oh. Right. Thanks, Amo. I thought I'd give a bit of context for tonight first before I introduce the panellists. And really the purpose of tonight's Talanoa is to explore a few themes. And it's particularly around Pacific performing arts, and also give you a chance as an audience, invite you to ask questions to our panellists. So some themes that I was thinking could come out tonight, and I don't want to be really prescriptive here. I want the direction to come from you as an audience. But certainly things that come up, into mind for me and probably a lot of you, as well as Amo, as one is around how does one establish and grow the ecosystem around a particular Pacific art form like Siva Afi, or even putting on Polynesian shows. Also about how do we get that balance right, when we talk about sharing the culture for the purposes of passing on knowledge, expertise and learnings, but then making it into a business that's recognised for the skill these people have, that it's not all free and we have to make it sustainable. And I know Alan and I have had conversations earlier this week and last week around that, so I want to explore that a little more tonight. And what are the opportunities Pacific Performing Arts have given these guys as performers, and how can we encourage more of our young people in Aotearoa to view this as something that could open doors for them professionally, as well as take them places globally. So with those sort of ideas in mind, I will now introduce the amazing panellists, and you'll see why I think that they can speak to those types of topics. So we've got, now excuse me, I'm going to be a little slower on pronouncing the names because I don't want to get it wrong. David Ngalea'i. Let me put on my glasses too, makes it a bit easier to see. 3-time World Fire Knife Champion from Hawai'i. David is a true ambassador of the arts and is the founder of Fire Dance School Vaimatina. David works at the Polynesian Cultural Centre in Laie, Oahu. And David's in the red shirt in front. If we don't know him, I think everybody does, famous. Okay, Jiralee, if Jiralee can just raise her hand. So, Open Women's World Fire Knife Champion from Hawai'i. We also want to thank the US for bringing Jiralee out, and she will be performing at Pacifica Festival this weekend with the crew, as well as some of our fire dancers, so please come check it out. Ellen Ikona Afoka, if you raise your hand, yep, has been a student of hula since the age of 3. She was born and raised in Haleiwa, Oahu, and currently resides in Aurora, Colorado. So she has 2 children, Kavihi and Kawailele, who's on the panel, and her husband is Ikaika Hafoka. And Ikaika sadly came out to New Zealand. He was going to be one of our judges, ended up with a bit of an injury to the eye, didn't see anything of Auckland or the festival, and had to return home for work. So we sadly miss him, but he says he'll be back, so we really look forward to that. Now, Ellen is a business owner with The Pampered Chef and is also a hula instructor with Halau Kalama. She attributes her hula knowledge to her kumahula, Queenie Freitas of Haleiwa, Oahu, and Lealoha Lee of Wahiawa, Oahu. Ellen believes that hula created the foundation in which she leads her life, and the values of aloha remind her every day that we are all students constantly learning to be better human beings. And everything I know in the past few days of Ellen is absolutely that. Sarah, if we can raise a hand there. Siva Afi Orlando Women's Champion 2022. Born and raised in Colorado, Sarah is of Hawaiian Norwegian descent and 19 years old. She's been learning Siva Afi since January 2017. So although she was far away from home, growing up on the mainland, dance and Siva Afi helped her to stay connected to her roots. Sarah said growing up, surrounded by Polynesian culture and dance, was truly a blessing. She became interested in Siva Afi through learning Polynesian dance, and her goal with Siva Afi is to continue to spread love, culture and passion, as well as stand beside her sisters as they represent females in Siva Afi, and she's certainly doing that. Urena Tafili, if you could raise your hand. the good arm. So Urena hails from Wellington. She has now earned her Bachelor of Creativity degree at Whitirea Performing Arts from Puriroa, Wellington. Her passion for Siva Afi has grown more over the years, since starting her Siva Samoa classes in 2020. Yorina took out the Wahine Tour Championship at the Siva Afi Festival last year, and she was about to compete this year, and just days before really seriously injured her hand and had to get it operated on. So we're just thrilled she's made it to Auckland now to be on this panel, and we sure look forward to her in the next competition. All right, so I thought maybe we'd ask our panel maybe a kick-off question first before we go to our audience. And I just want our panellists to give us a little more of their background, so particularly around how they got their start in the professional side of the business. What were their influences and how did you get to where you are now? So if we can maybe go to Ellen first.
You just start. Okay. Aloha everyone, I'm Ellen, and I guess in answer to that question, being born and raised in Hawaii, my mother is from the island of Kauai, and my father is from the island of Maui. My mother comes from a long line of musicians and entertainers, so you could say I was around it for all my life. And I think that's why I started dancing when I was 3. As far as being raised by it, it was kind of second nature, just like I'm sure many of you fall into the same thing. With all of our Polynesian culture, we stay connected to that. And growing up, high school, college, I did leave the islands, but I did continue to dance in the state of Oregon. And then I moved to the state of Colorado and continued to dance there. What else?
How did you get into the business side of where you are now?
The business side. You know, when you're in it with your family, you don't see the business side of it. You only see the performance part, which means like you just do what you're told. If your mom says dance, you dance. Unfortunately for me, but fortunately for you, I couldn't sing. So there was no singing coming from mine, and I really didn't pick up an instrument very well. Ukulele is as far as I go. But as far as how did I get involved with the business, as I grew older, my parents did teach me that I needed to make sure that I took care of myself. And so if I was going to perform, it was really, really important that I knew the business side. So that's why I decided to go to college and pursue business. And that's something that I would highly recommend if anyone is deciding to go into the performing part as a professional entertainer, career-wise. You'll definitely want to get some education and go and get your business degree of some sort. Whether it's a 2-year degree, 4-year degree, online courses, anything to kind of teach you how to manage money. It's very, very important to start out from a young age to know and understand the value of money, because I've learned from past experiences that if you don't look out for yourself, well, somebody else might not look out for your best interest, and that's the unfortunate side of it. But on the positive note, it's good to know business, and so that's what I would highly recommend. So I got involved because my parents.
Yeah, no, thank you for that.
Yeah, long-winded, but sorry.
No, that's actually perfect because you gave us the background as well. And it's always interesting whether people grew up with it or got into it later. Yeah. David, maybe we'll pass the mic to you. Bit of background on yourself and and how you now are running Vaimatina and your relationship with PCC, Polynesian Cultural Centre.
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sure thing. So a little bit of your background, so how you grew up and were you always in performance, like your family, and where you've ended up now, how you're running your group and making a living out of this.
Okay, first of all, kia ora. Tēnā koutou. We talk about my background, who I am. I think I kind of mentioned that outside. My name's David Ngaliai, and when I was born, I came out with fire knives, nasty. We can relax. I mean, I think we kind of too up tense, and so I feel like we have to relax so we can actually be more open. So yeah, I grew up in a family of entertainers. Our parents were entertainers. They traveled the world, and in fact, I think back in the early 1960s, my dad, Tafili Ngaliai, was actually the first fire knife dancer in Waikiki at the time. And Waikiki and Hawaii has always been the place where the luau's have been blowing up, and that's where it started. So the whole format of shows has come from the way it's been done in Hawaii. And it's because it's been so popular. You got people like Elvis that came through, and Elvis was, world renowned, and it was exposed. So people around the world got to see that. So my family's been a part of that, I would say, at least from the Samoan culture side. Before, the luau's didn't really have other cultures involved. But in Laie, Hawaii, there's the hukilau. So that's where they started adding these other cultures, having Samoa. I think it was basically Samoa and Hawaii at that time, back in the day. And then slowly other islanders used to come in, and we start to create the Polynesian Triangle show. And that was done in the early 1960s. So for me, yeah, I grew up, and me and my brother Alex, I just give some time to him right after just to kind of explain to him his side of it. But that's how we grew up. We grew up in entertainment, So, and with us growing up in that, it's just like how she says, there's the pros and cons. The parents, because we all dance as well. We dance Samoan, we dance other cultures as well. But, as a business, we didn't see it as a business. Parents say, you do, yeah. And a lot of times it's maybe business for them, but we get the $10 for eat ice cream after we did a whole show. But anyways, that's a little bit of our background, my background, and I'll give some time real quick for Alex to kind of explain.
World peace. Let me see. I think it was inevitable that we would be a part of this passion. For me, I got started at the age of 7. And it's kind of like forced at that time. And I look back at it, I say it's forced. But it was really like he said, they tell you, oh, come stand over here. Okay, do this, do that, do this. And I had no idea what I was doing. In fact, I think growing up, it was like, it was seasonal. You go like 3 months on, I'm practicing and I'm doing all this great stuff, and then stop. I no practice. But it was just going to be constantly there, because if your parents do it, you're going to do it. You're going to be involved somehow, some way. And it really started at home, just like how I explained. He say, wiggle your knees like this, do a haka. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying to do whatever he's trying to tell me to do. And next minute, we're working at the Polynesian Culture Center and doing a show. I didn't realize that was my audition. And just growing up at the Polynesian Culture Center, I was blessed and fortunate to be instructed by masters of the performing arts in the cultures that they represented, and it took a lot of time, a lot of tears, But through it all, you have the ups, the downs, and I just grew to love it more and more and more. And it piqued my interest in what else was there. What was the deeper meaning of what I was doing? Is there a deeper meaning? And just keeping involved with it. You know, back home, I work at a luau. And that's what pays my bills. That's what gives my family medical care. That's what helps me to survive in the world. And so trying to keep that balance where, you know, because I have the opportunity to, in what I'm doing now, I try to instill that in the next generation. I tell them, you know, this might be a luau, this might be a show, but it's still our culture. And if it's not your culture, make it your culture. Yeah, I share that with them now because being a 3-time World Fire Knife champ or being a drummer, whatever it is, there's a culture to it. And so, you know, I share with people I work with, I say, I'm not Hawaiian, but I'm here at a Hawaiian luau. So I'm going to be Hawaiian. I'm going to stand for that. And people may think, oh, that's just a show you're doing. But I tell them, I say, no, the songs in which we sing, the knives that you twirl, the drumsticks you use, they're real. They're real. We're living, breathing culture. And so that's where I find my balance in seeing the business side and also holding on to my culture. I say, yeah, you're here to work, provide. Back in the day, you know, our ancestors, they worked the farm, they go fish, they bartered each other, you know. I give you fish, you build my house, and so on and so forth. But over here, we don't need to do that nowadays, right? We can earn some, you know, money, pay for what we need, but still stand firm in our culture and belief. So that's just a little bit. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Wondering, Sarah, if you just want to hold that for a sec, from your perspective, growing up, obviously with a mum who was already in the business, but what opportunities has Siva Afi for you and also Polynesian dance? What opportunities and doors has it opened for you as a performer?
So a little bit about me. I grew up in Aurora, Colorado. So if you guys don't know where that is, it's right in the center of the U.S. And something for me that is a lot different is growing up, I didn't have anybody who looked like me or shared the same culture as me. So from a young age, my mom wanted me to learn how to dance, whether it be hula, Tahitian, Siva, fire knife, anything like that to get me involved, because going to school, I kind of felt like an outsider a lot of the times. And I was that person who people kind of knew what I did, but they thought it was like just that TV show, hula kind of stuff. So they didn't really understand. But growing up, learning Siva Afi from Ikaika, who is my stepdad, that's opened so many doors for me. I moved to Florida right after I graduated high school. I graduated in 2021, and right after that I packed my stuff, whatever could fit in my car, and I drove 4 days to Florida, and I started my life there. I met a whole different crowd of fire knife dancers in Florida. I met other fire knife world champions like VJ, I met Rex, and then I met these guys, and it just opened up so many doors. I ended up going to Toa Afi 2021, and I was the only female there. So it was kind of one of those wins that was by default, but it was still, it was a win is a win. And I felt like that is where it started for me, because I stepped on that stage already knowing what was gonna happen, but I still went on, and because of that, a couple months later, I get a text from this guy right here. I got a messenger from Amo, and at first I looked at it and I was like, this random guy just said, come to New Zealand. I don't know if I'm gonna go. I told my mom and she's like, do you know this guy? And I was like, no. And I was like, okay, let's ignore it. And, and then he added me to a group chat from there. And then I saw, oh no, this guy actually knows a lot of fire knife girls that are in New Zealand. So I was like, okay, I'll answer. I'm so glad I answered. Because that was almost a year and a half ago that Alma reached out to me, and he kept in contact for that whole year. We planned this trip for so long, and because of Siva Afi and building this relationship with everybody, I was able to come here. And now I have a new family here in New Zealand that I feel like I can come home to anytime. And seeing all of the young girls, all of the girls my age, girls older, all spinning is so inspirational, especially because in the States, I feel like what we have up here is almost all of the female fire knife dancers in the States, and we're all on different parts too. So it's not like we can drive 2 hours to see each other. We would have to hop on a plane and fly 8 hours to even see each other. But now we're all in the same room. So it's a huge, huge change. But I'm so excited because seeing that Siva Afi competition on Friday and on Saturday with all the kids and all of us, I've never seen so many girls. And seeing Emily win in with the boys too, I was like, go girl, like you're representing us. So that's a huge opportunity I feel like I got just to witness that and see all of these boys, these girls, men and women all come together and be Samoan on that stage and perform Siva Afi, and it just helps us connect as a family. So that's kind of what Siva Afi has done for me in my life.
Yeah, I remember when Amma was, because he's always scouting, right? And I'm always like, they're going to think some random guy's stalking them, You should always have the wife on the side so they know you're legit. But he's like, oh, that's all right. When I called into the Zoom, the mum was there to ask me some hard questions. And how are you going to promote women? I was like, oh, good, okay. I'm wondering if we can, hate to put you on the spot there, Mia, but someone that didn't grow up then with the Polynesian culture and how you got into it and can relate and the opportunities it's opened for you.
Yeah. First, I feel so blessed to even be here. I'm Mia. I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so far east coast of America. And I wish I could say that I grew up around the culture, but I did not. I've always admired it from afar. It wasn't until my mom, it's actually a funny story, she was going to school with one of the Lavata'i brothers' wives and asked her if she wanted to dance. My mom said, me? No, but my daughter might. And so I started to Tahitian dance for Rocco Tinatali. He broke off from Polynesian Fire to start his own show. And I fell in love with that. That was about maybe 3 years ago. And the more and more I kept seeing him do fire, it grabbed me. And the more and more I watched him MC and I learned about the cultures that were involved, I was just so drawn and I felt so welcomed. And I've never felt so loved in a community before and so welcomed and appreciated, and just the culture is always so beautiful. And eventually, his wife, Tosh, taught me fire poi. Well, first she taught me light up poi, and the second that she did let me light up, it was game over. After that, I was just so appreciative and it was so cool. And then Rocco finally was like, all right, are you ready to learn Siva Afi? And I was like, really? You're gonna teach me? And it was such an honor because I know that it's such a big part of Samoan culture. So for him to offer to teach me, I just felt so blessed. And I started that about 2 years ago, but for a while I was going through a lot and I put it down. And it wasn't until about a year ago that I really started to take Siva Afi pretty seriously. And Rocco and I became partners in Hula Fi Entertainment, and he started to teach me the business side of doing shows and stuff. And I started to MC, and he, of course, had to educate me even more on the culture so that I could properly share the culture with everybody as we did our shows. And the joy that it brings to other people and the closeness that it brought was just so encompassing. And yeah, I did Afi with Sierra last year in October. I got to meet her, and just, she's so loving. She's a big part of the reason why I'm here, actually, because she posted about Siva Afi Festival here, and that was maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and I was like, oh, that'd be so cool if I could do that. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but manifesting, I signed up anyway. As time got closer, unfortunately, I thought I wouldn't be able to afford to fly out here. And so I emailed these guys, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. And I just have to thank them because they figured out a way to fund me being able to come over here. And Sierra was a big part of that because Amo asked, well, who is this girl? He thought I was spam. He couldn't believe that I registered. And Sierra just had so many good things to say about me, and they got me over here. And just being here has opened so many doors for me. Just being out of the country, I never thought. That's another thing. Polynesian Fire, they took us out of the country one time, and that's because I danced with them. And that's not something I thought I would ever be able to do. So that's a door that's been opened. Being here with all of you is a door that's been open for me, and getting to explore. Sorry, we're not allowed to bring water in here, so my mouth is dry. But yeah, it's just opened so many doors, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be sitting here with other Siva Afi sisters, and to, like Sierra was saying, getting to witness other female warriors just be full in their power. It's such a cool thing to be a part of, and to be sitting next to one of the women who made this possible for the rest of us. Shout out Clary. And yes, I'm just grateful to be here, you guys, and it's opened so many doors. I'm so excited to see any other doors that will be open because of your beautiful culture, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mia. And it's true, I got so excited when we saw this registration, right, of someone we didn't know because, as you know, Amo hunts down everybody. So this was someone that he hadn't hunted down, and we were just like, hey, this random girl's, you know. But of course, then Amo started, looking on Facebook to find the connection to Sierra and everything, and we worked it out. But yeah, when we saw your registration, Mia, we were really excited because it was someone we hadn't identified, so that was brilliant. I'm wondering if we can pass the mic to Jira Lee, recognised as one of the founders of female Siva Afi, recognised around the world. Everybody seems to follow her, whether it's Insta or whatever she's doing. Everybody knows Jira Lee's name. Question I've got for you. Were you given a choice, but growing up in the family, was it a kind of a no-go anyway? You were just going to be a performer. What if you wanted to be a vet? Was there a choice?
Nope. Well, just growing up, he kind of just, I was like surrounded by it, like my family. He would teach my older cousins. I tell everybody this, and then I'd just be on the side, and like I would spin on the side, and then one day he just told me to come, and he just started working on me from there, and then I kind of just grew to love it. But as I kept doing it, I think there were times where I didn't want to keep spinning and performing, but I'm glad I stuck it out, because then if not, I probably wouldn't be here now, and I probably wouldn't have had the opportunities that were opened up for me. Like this, for example. So yeah, it wasn't really my choice, but I'm grateful that he made that choice for me. But yeah, love that.
Awesome, yeah. Well, we're glad you did. Thank you for forcing her, because wow, has she blazed the trail, literally. just wondering if we can open up to the audience now. And yeah, raise your hand, anybody that wants to answer the question. Also, we've got some lovely enticing gifts here. Thanks to Polynesian Cultural Centre for people who are willing to ask some questions. Louisa.
Aloha. My question is, I love that the focus of our Siva Afi Festival is on women and on kids. But I did see that at the competition that they had in Samoa, there was some criticism online about women doing fire knife dancing. So I really wanted to ask the panel what they think about that criticism that came from Samoa about, you know, women doing fire knife dancing, and what you guys think about that. Did you see it? Were you following it online like I was, and like seeing what
we must
people
have
were
shut
saying?
that down. And
There was a little bit of criticism online, yeah, from people in Samoa saying that women shouldn't be doing fire knife dancing. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, ironic that Talanoa was a warrior goddess.
Yeah.
So, and we look to her as inspiration. So, to me, that's in itself already, maybe just some people, they don't see it in that way, but I've always been a strong believer that, the women can do just as well as the men, but being themselves as well. So not trying to imitate the man, being a woman and being a warrior as well. Because women, they have to be warriors. They are warriors in protecting what they have to protect, their responsibilities. They take care of that. A lot of times it's not easy for a man to do with the woman. So in my opinion, maybe they were just bored and wanted to make trouble. But if they just held a women's one in Samoa, I was there to judge it, and it was awesome. We had Melanie over there that was ripping it up and showed the world, showed Samoa that they belong there. So in my opinion, those people who are saying that, they have their opinion, they're entitled to their own opinion, but I don't see that it's wrong. So, anyone else?
Yeah, just following along with Dave, like, just if there's a battle and they break through the first line of defense, what do they expect everyone else to do? Just sit there and take it? Yeah, that won't happen. So, and the way we train in Waimatina, there's not, okay, you guys go here, you guys go here. Everyone trains the same because the same, we all fight in the same battle, whatever that battle might be. There are trials and challenges in our life. So, like, I don't know, to say they don't belong there is probably just from old time, that's how it was before, mostly that's what the guys did and whatnot, but things evolve. And I think that's what's the beauty of culture. It's living, it's growing, it's, we look, we learn, and we move on, and we keep going, and yeah, so it's just unfortunate. Some still have that way of thinking, but pretty soon it'll be different, because now it's a new day and the interest is there. And slowly that type of thinking hopefully will diminish till it's just everything's accepted.
Marlo.
Thank you.
Irina, can we get your thoughts about that? Same question, Louisa.
Sorry, can you repeat the first explanation? On top.
Just what do you say to people who maybe, like Alex was saying, are stuck in their old ways and think that women should not be fire knife dancing?
Well, I think it's a motivation for girls, to be honest. I take it as a motivation because if people tell you that you can't do anything, it makes you, motivated to do it even more. But yeah, it's all part of like stereotype
what is it? Gin? Yeah, all of that. It's just like, I remember growing up and I know these people, but they used to call me the man because I would, perform like a man when I do fire knife or like act like a man sometime, but I take it as a compliment, not as a, what do you call it? Yeah, that. So I take it as a way of me to grow stronger. And I think, if you're a girl in here and you're doing Siva Afi, keep going. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Because, like what David Ngaliati said, Ngā Whanua was a woman and she paved the way for us to be able to become warriors. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Tala whalawa malu pa i o le atunu ia. Mo lava awe ina le toa, whaktai mo nei taimi o ta mawhaina tātou mafuta ma whaatasi ai. Ia mo lava a watu ia le whaafitai, whaamaloa atu lau sunga. Sorry wo ngalolo ngo swafa matai. But you're a missionary. And you're spreading the gospel. Now, I think I can safely say in this forum, I am probably the oldest fire dancer here. My grandfather taught me in the early or late 50s. Now, I had an auntie who was 3 years older than me, and we learned together. But he never pushed her to perform. I think I was performing at about 11. In our church, I was the only one that did Afi at a young age. So he was always pushing me, never pushing my auntie. So in my mindset, all these years, I ran a show in Australia. We toured America, we toured Asia. And in my mind, I would never ever think of ladies. I just thought it was maybe a taboo thing. Never thought of it at all. When I came here and almost started this, I was just rapt. I was like, oh man, this should have been happening a long time ago. Now, I'm born in New Zealand, so I can't say of how our elders thought. So when that taboo was there, I was like, when I saw this, my two grandkids came up and were learning, and I was like, this is fantastic. This should have been open a long time ago like this. Our mind was so, but every time I went to Samoa and I saw Ailao, there was an inkling in me that was saying it must be taboo, how the elders thought. So congratulations to you all, because you're going out into the world and taking our culture, a very important part of our culture. Even though we're born outside, but we feel the part and that we want to carry it on. And for girls, fantastic. I actually asked some more. I'm 70 this year, and I said, can we have a Masters division? Now, I got to tell you that I was probably the slowest, fattest fire dancer on the face of this earth. The only trick that I had for the Aussies was to burn myself, and so they thought I was the toughest man in the world. But I really want, and I'll tell you guys something really, really funny. All my life, my grandfather taught me the wrong way to spin. And when my kids came down and they said, oh yeah, you're not doing it right, Papa. You got to go under first. And I was like, because I reached the roll over the top, that's why I was so slow. But I tell you, my kids, they went to university on my ability to be able to lie about how I love it. So, but thank you very much for everybody spreading the gospel. You are world famous. I was so excited when I heard you guys were coming. And I said to Lisa, man, that's the best thing you've ever done in your life, is bring those people down here, or help to bring them down. So, Lausunga David and the crew, from Manuieto Malanga, all the best. On behalf of all of us here in Aotearoa, we wish you all the best. Keep up the good work. Sorry, I didn't know your name. Sorry, you're just as important. Behind every good man, Yeah, and it wasn't a question, it was just a statement. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Actually, that was, yeah, great story. Anybody else from the audience? Yep, over here.
Oh, stop. Hello. This is a question to all champs and former champs. Would you have any advice for any other upcoming fire dancers who are thinking to make this as their career as well?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Do you have any advice for any other upcoming fire dancers who are thinking of making this their career?
My advice is pretty simple, I guess. I would just say, like, if you want to go for it, I would say, like, put in the work. You want to, like, practice every day, and even though you don't feel like practicing, I feel like that should already tell you should do it. And I would say that you can do it, and it's possible, and and never give up.
Yeah, even though I'm not a champion, but I think all of you guys are sick of me saying this. I'm glad Aaliyah is saying it, so no excuses. Some other champions?
I think the most important part is, when you fail, when you feel like you didn't do a good job, if you didn't place any of that, you kind of learn from that experience, and you kind of learn to adjust based off of the things that you messed up on, and then from there you just keep working. It's like a stepping stone, one at a time. Like me, personally, when I first competed, I didn't win, I didn't place. I actually got disqualified because my knife broke. And from there, I kind of wanted to stop, and that's when my dad stepped in and told me to keep going. If he hadn't said that, that probably would have been my last time competing. But you just gotta keep going, keep pushing, believe in yourself too, and learn from your failures. Yeah.
Actually, this is something me and Mia were talking about the other day, is that just realizing that when you're competing, your biggest competition is yourself. It really doesn't matter what anybody else is doing on there. For me, I'm obviously not on Jeremy or Aaliyah's level, but when I did Siva Afi, I wasn't really thinking about anything except for my performance I did the year before and then what I gave the year after. And I compared the two, and I was proud, even though I did drop more than I wanted to in that performance. I was proud because I tried something new from the year before, and I went out of my comfort level. And for me, that was a huge step for myself. And just getting out of your head is a huge thing, and just realizing that we're all in it together, but also knowing that you're competing against yourself at the end of the day.
You guys try to hear my voice. First of all, I want to say to the OG, we say OG because you're original. Yeah. Thank you for your words and your blessings. And thank you for your blessings upon us and recognizing that we look to the higher power. So I'm going to tell you one of my secrets. It comes from Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. My thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are your ways. For even as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my thoughts and your thoughts and your ways, my ways. So that's basically telling you that He knows this is the Lord and this is us. So what I do, this is something that I did before I started training. I would always pray to the Lord to teach me as I train. And you know what? Inspiration will come. And you'll come up with something that will, kind of, even if I didn't make it that year, I knew what to do the next year because of his inspiration. And then it taught me to, you got to understand, it's in the judge's hands, it's not in your hands. So they're the ones that are going to make the decisions for you. For your performance, regardless if in your heart you did the best. They're the ones that are deciding. So you look at the criteria, you look at it, and you look at what you need to do. Of course, that you get those on point. Height, speed, and then you go the warrior movements, or another day you catch at the back. All those kind of things, they all line up like this. But there's such an area where they're going to be judging you according to their the expertise on how you do it. So when I used to train after I compete, I look at what I did the year before, and I would look at my speed compared to the other guy's speed, And I'm like, oh, okay, I need to work on my speed, which is where a 2-minute drill came in. So that came up from there because endurance and speed is one thing. You gotta remember, you guys are athletes. This is a sport now. You're getting judged on being strong, you're getting judged on being fast, you're getting judged on your timing, hand-eye coordination. All of that stuff is in play now. So as an athlete, that's what you do. You work on, you gotta break it down to the bare minimum. And where are you at? Where do I stand? My speed is here, I need to get it here. If I need more high throws, I need to get it here. I gotta practice that. Start doing drills, throwing high. And you just work on those things. So, like I said, if it's a sport, treat it like a sport. Fitness is important. You gotta be fit, and you gotta be able to tune up the muscles that need to work and stay flexible. That's one of the things, especially for this, you gotta be flexible because the more flexible you are, the more you can move around your body in life. So those are little things, and just remember the higher power will teach you that stuff. Always try to. So that's just a little bit of advice that I can give to you for that review.
World peace. Just adding on to what everyone has said, a fine enough warrior is a fine enough warrior. A true fighting warrior is a warrior whether he intends to be or not. And what I mean by that is like how they said is, and everyone here, how they said it is, if you're just thinking, I want to win, then maybe you got to refocus the purpose. Because win or lose, you're going to come out on top if you learn something and you bettered yourself. And you as an individual, if you're thinking about making this something, your career or something a special hobby for you, well, guess what? You're going to become more healthier. You're going to be a better influence for everyone, not just for the culture or the entertainment side, but as an individual. Because of how you conduct yourself, the discipline, the art form, all of this comes into play as you as an individual, and that's what we need in the world. That's what we're working hard for. To go out, we put the work in. People like Miley, they're putting these things together to have a platform for you to express yourself. To show your skills and what you learned, but really on who you are. And everything everyone's saying here, that's perfect advice. I have a little acronym for me that helps motivate me. I always tell myself, what's my aim? That's the acronym, AIM, A-I-M. Attitude, intention, motivation. What's my attitude? What's my attitude in my practice? What's my attitude in my lifestyle to get me where I need to go? What are my intentions when I'm stepping on a stage to perform Siva Afi? Is it to win? Or is it to show my love for the culture and passion? Win or lose? If I win, great. That's cheddar. It's awesome. But when I step into this competition, I want to know I'm making a difference in this competition. People are going to go, that's the competition I want to go to because he's entered. And he's awesome. Has he won? Once or twice. But I know the standard that individual, I know the standard I'm bringing in. And it don't matter if there's 1,000 people or one person. That's individual. What is my motivation? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Is it to look good for people, or is it really truly to be Polynesian, Islander, a finite dancer, whatever it is? Is that something I could add to that for anyone who's thinking about this? You're looking at a panel here that kind of living through everything that you just heard coming out. So hopefully this all helps.
My advice is to take it, experience it, because you never know until you try it. And you never know who's watching you, because they could be following your footsteps in the next year and the following. So yeah, just take the experience. Thank you.
No? Okay, just in the... I'm getting the time check from Mamo, because I know we only had a certain amount of space. Just to comment on that though, myself, I love what you guys are saying about that, and it resonates. Because I remember quite a few years ago, I know I was talking to my mum about competition or something, and she sort of made the comment that she didn't think it was that great competition. I grew up doing competition, dance competitions. And I said, oh, how come? And she said, oh, I just thought about it later in life, and there's always then a winner and a loser. And I said, well, it depends who you're competing against. And she was like, what? And I said, I've only ever competed against myself. You know, I only ever went out there saying, please God, just sort of let me do the best I know I can do. Didn't care the outcome, just don't make me look foolish up there, you know? And it was never about whether somebody was better than me. It was about, I've practiced a lot, so I hope I do the best that I've done in, you know, studio or in rehearsal. And that was it. I was always happy whether it was the best I knew I did. Didn't care where I got. So anyway, I think that's a real way to look at things. So we out of time, Amor? Is that, yeah? Do you want to do the wrap up? I want to give out a couple bags here, thanks to Polynesian Cultural Centre, to some of our great people that answer some questions, and I'll let you wrap up. Blue or pink?
So, well, it's me. Yeah, just apologies to everyone. We have gone beyond time, but hey, like I said, it's not island time, it's relaxed time. Thank you again to the panellists. Very inspirational talk. Yes, we do, when we organise things like this, there's always a mind frame of this is what we want to ask, this is what we want to hear. But I think there's an underlying theme coming along with the team is that the unity that comes with it, and also above all is our faith, and also that we're not just out there representing ourselves, but other people are looking at us, because who knows, it could be a child that's going through some situation, and to then to see someone else achieving something on stage, looking confident, proud of what they're doing, could inspire them and go, yeah, I want to go home and do this or do that. And it is, there were some of the kids from our Siva Afi workshop, the So all beginners, I stopped them from trying to do doubles. It was like a nightmare. But I said, I'm going to focus on the single, do your best you can, work on posture, speed, all that sort of stuff. I was so absolutely proud of them. I mean, there was no way they were ever going to, get any max points or anything, but the fact they went on the stage, I looked at their eyes. I think one of them was about to cry, but she was just going for it. It just kicked in. So, and the fact that they were treated like superstars by the audience, by the media that was there, man, we never had that when we grew up as performers. So we hope that for the young people that are here, or for those who will view the video later, will become an inspiration to you guys, a stepping stone, and whatever you do. Siva Afi is a training, but if you decide you want to be a scientist, a doctor, a teacher, or even the guy, driving the rubbish truck, or anything like that, whatever you do, if you do in the name of the Lord, it is a blessing. So, go hard out. Don't cry when I tell you off. Or many other things. Yes. But anyway, also Jaden, just acknowledge the Wellington crew. Man, you guys are an inspiration to us. I hope all your kids have had, certificate to be able to be not at school for 7 days straight. I don't want to get any insurance email from Wellington, but thank you again for making the journey up here. They will also be performing at Pacifica this Saturday, 3 p.m. on the Samoan stage. So thank you guys for supporting the Siva Afi community, really. It's a lot of us are here in Auckland, but man, we're all crazy, all over the place. But you guys are telling us, relax, to do that. So hopefully we can do that. Also, just to remind you guys, Vaimatina and also special guests from our female Siva Afi guys will be performing at the Samoa stage this Saturday. To close off, I think it's 5:45 p.m. on Saturday, this Saturday. Remember, it's supposed to be a festival, Saturday the 18th of March. Yes, so please, let's be there. There will be a film crew, photographers, we want to see thousands of people over there and stuff, right? So if I keep plugging in, the more people there, the more funding we're going to get. It's because we don't have funding for next year. But anyway, blessings to God. Whatever happens, faith in Him, everything will be okay, So, but anyway. Before we close off, thank you everyone for being here, supporting these guys here. There's a few more couple of days, so if you have any spare change, like breakfast, lunch or dinner, feel free. David and them are saying about Wellington, Ella and the guys are in Wasco, Jaden's in Otara, do a delivery, do the item work. Just knock on the door. Here you go. KFC. Just, do it like that. But before we finish, I'm pretty sure this is kind of like the last major day for us for the Siva Afi Festival program, other than the end on Saturday. So, due respect to our Tanta Whenua, I would like to invite Shannon over to just close us off. Get a bit emotional, so I'll hand it over to her. Haere mai. Just to kind of close this off properly, because all due respect to our whenua, atua and tangata.